I just feel like I've learned so much and I've been able to share so much, and I'm honestly baffled that people want to know, because I never really knew there were so many people out there that had such similar experiences to me. So it's been very healing in a way to share and be vulnerable online and realize like, oh, this is actually common. Like, that's so cool. And I have no regrets, absolutely no regrets at all.
Another common thing I'm gonna have you just go a little bit into is, I know you were assigned as female at birth, and then you experienced gender dysphoria during childhood. Can you share with us, in however much detail you want to? Because I know you've shared it lots of times on multiple different platforms. Just what that journey was like for you, and how you were able to transition into the person you are today, just so confident, so smart, and setting such a good example.
I think it was definitely a process, and it's something that I'm absolutely still practicing. But education has always been very valuable to me in terms of acknowledging who I am and learning the correct resources so that I can properly articulate myself. Because growing up, I think what really got me through was my art. I didn't have the language or the terminology to articulate my identity to anyone. And art was just this way that I didn't need words. I could just paint and use visuals, and that was how I expressed myself. And I feel like that was how I released so many emotions. But as I grew older, of course, it wasn't, until high school, really, honestly, I feel like I started doing more research into queer culture and really like analyzing how I felt about my deaf identity. Through social media, as I reached high school, I was able to contact and learn more about the communities that I identified with, which really weren't around me growing up in central Pennsylvania, super conservative, predominantly white, not really any queer culture that I found. There were no deaf individuals around me, so no representation that way. But social media was just like this source, where I didn't need to be around them physically, but I could talk with them and I could watch them like succeed and grow. And so I think that had a huge impact on me really understanding what was possible, because representation truly matters. It allows you to craft this story about what you want your future to be. But how are you supposed to craft that story if you don't have the beginning, So that really kind of showed me the potential that I could have.
I marvel at how you were able to embrace yourself and go through, surgeries to reconstruct yourself and become the person that you saw yourself in on the inside, despite how others may view you. And that came at such a young age, 15, 16, 17. That's very young, especially for such drastic changes. Even 30, 40, 50-year olds are unwilling to come out and make sometimes. And so I just wonder what nuggets really made you be able to come out and do that.
Right. Well, thank you. And I think honestly, I've been privileged with social media, and like my whole generation is, because I honestly wonder what it would have been like if I grew up with your generation, or someone who, if I were 50 now, because their mass media did not have any trans or disabled people of color on the front page, and now they do, mainly because, in my opinion, like, social media has allowed us all to be our own representation, not wait around anymore for like giant companies and publications to uplift us.
Yeah. I think through like the YouTube platform and the social media platforms overall, you've done an amazing job of, advocacy work, not only through for LGBTQI people, but also, people with disabilities and all of the other different sorts of minority groups you represent. What have you found about advocacy in terms of effectiveness? Have you found it to be very effective, just just being so genuine and candid and throwing your whole self into it in a way? And has there, do you regret it, or do you think it's been mostly very positive so far?
I think it's been mostly very positive. I feel very lucky. There have been times when it's been very hard to be as vulnerable as I am online. Um, but overall, I just feel like I've learned so much and I've been able to share so much. And I'm honestly baffled that people want to know, because I never really knew there were so many people out there that had such similar experiences to me. So it's been very healing in a way to share and be vulnerable online and realize like, oh, this is actually common. Like, that's so cool. And I have no regrets, absolutely no regrets at all.
Yeah. In terms of moving forward, you've done such amazing advocacy work. Moving forward, how do you see that changing, or do you just see it enlarging into even greater platforms like what you're just saying, Titans, the TV show, and just being on more of those kinds of platforms as well?
I see so many people like just rising up and voicing their life stories, and I also see us just creating and being showcased more in mainstream media, like such as Lauren Ridloff on The Walking Dead, or Special, which was on Netflix. And you know I just feel like now more than ever, people are ready to hear our stories. The world is in a place where they're realizing a lot of stories have been neglected and erased from history.